History is the closest thing we have to a crystal ball for the future. By understanding history, it tells us where we are and also where we're going. But fundamentally, history is stories.
In 1956, Life magazine published an article about the Ahiarmiut people. Ayaaq was featured on the cover with her husband and their baby son. The piece misrepresented their ways of life and contextualized them as a dead culture. I'm Serene Fox, and I'm meeting with No History to uncover why stories like these harm Indigenous people and how they are helping to write history differently.
At No History, we approach it from a holistic perspective. There's no single one truth in history, and if we can collect oral history and combine that with the little bits of written records that exist, or vital statistics, or information from a photograph, we start to reveal the past in a little more coherent way. The archives has millions and millions of documents. It has hundreds of thousands of photographs and video. It's about finding those little pieces of information and then providing context to it. For hundreds of years, Indigenous history has been recorded incorrectly. It's been recorded absent of Indigenous voice. The Life magazine article is just another example of that. It was an example of a piece that superficially told a story of people, compared them to prehistoric individuals and cannibals without ever talking about the culture, the way of life, or the tenacity of these people. This is the story of the people of Anowtalik. It's not the story in Life magazine, and it's not Farley Mowat's story. It's Ayaaq's story and the Ahiarmiut story. And she didn't tell this story to me. I was just present in the room. She told it to Louisa Gibbons, who's interviewing her. She's telling a story to her people. She's passing on tradition. We've recognized that, written history isn't always right. The history of Canada is not just the history of our politicians and language movements. It is a shared history of our geography, our land, and our relationship with Indigenous people. Their history, although passed along within their society, was never brought outside of their society except by anthropologists that gave it their own perspective. And so what we're left with is this fragmented understanding of a people, and I think that partly now that's why we have such issues around understanding in this country, is that we don't really understand history. We don't understand the perspective of this nation's past and its impact on Indigenous people. If settlers want to correct history, they need to incorporate Indigenous voice, and we need to collaborate where Indigenous people will allow us to. That's our role, is decolonizing history. The information that we collect has to be for the community and how they want to use it and how their stories are to be told from their perspective. It's that respect for the knowledge that you're holding, and it's respect for the safekeeping of that knowledge. And communicating it or sharing it in a way that is respectful for how it was given with full consent has to be the primary protocol for us. I'm Ryan Shackleton. I'm the founder and director of No History Incorporated.